Welcome to the American Nephrology Nurses Association's 50th Anniversary podcast series. In this commemorative series, past presidents and other leaders of the American Nephrology Nurses Association will provide a rich history of the association itself and of nephrology nursing as a specialty nursing profession. The American Nephrology Nurses Association's 50th Anniversary podcast series is brought to you by the Nephrology Nursing Journal, the official journal of the American Nephrology Nurses Association. We are honored to present this episode, and we hope you enjoy these invaluable and enlightening nephrology nursing recollections.
Hi, my name is Norma Gomez. I'm a member of the Nephrology Nursing Journal Editorial Board and a past president of CNNe. Today it is my honor to interview Glenda Payne, who served as president of CNNe from 2012 to 2013. Glenda, I want to thank you so much for taking time to talk to us today about CNNe and nephrology nursing.
Thanks for asking me to do this.
Great. So let's just start at the beginning. When and how did you become interested in nephrology?
Well, my first husband had kidney disease. I was a secretary in a small manufacturing company at that time with two small children. I learned a lot during my husband's illness and decided to go to nursing school after his death. My first nephrology job in nursing was in transplantation, actually at the hospital where he had been treated.
Wow, that's very interesting. So let's talk about your role as president of CNNe. So what was the environment like during that time in nephrology nursing, and CNNe?
Well, there were highs and lows during my year. Some of the highs were attending the Canadian Nurses and Technicians meeting in Calgary in my year as president-elect, and the European Dialysis and Transplant Nurses meeting in Sweden after I finished my year as president. Both of those were really fun experiences, and I made a lot of connections. As an organization, we were struggling with the qualifications for taking the CNN, and as an ADN graduate, I'd always believed that more education is better, and I've always encouraged people to seek that extra or more education, feeling like you really can't use knowledge you don't have. Also, as an organization, we totally redid the strategic plan. We worked with a wonderful outside consultant who helped us streamline the process and to make it much more user-friendly.
What was the biggest challenge that you had? I mean, I know you worked on the strategic plan. There were a lot of changes with that came along with that also.
Right. And a lot of that was education, trying to educate all of our volunteers how to more effectively use the strategic plan. Also, the revision of the CMS conditions for coverage was still fairly new, so there were lots of questions in that area and back and forth with the federal government. And I remember doing a talk on the requirements for water treatment at the fall meeting in 2013 that was very well received.
So what was the biggest advancement for nephrology nursing, or CNNe during your presidency?
Well, I think that the fact that we as nurses and the physicians as well finally recognized that getting patients dry was not always the best thing we could do for them, at least not in a single treatment. And recognition of removing too much fluid too fast and what the risks were for that was a huge advance, I think, in the practice of nephrology. And along with that, understanding that those risks included damage to organs such as the heart and the brain. And I was really proud to have the keynote speaker at my meeting in Vegas be Tom Parker. He did an excellent job, I think, of convincing the room to go home and change their practice. So that was a huge advancement, I think, in nephrology nursing.
Yes, and I think it was the first time that CNNe shared the recording of that and sent it out to some of the dialysis units so that everyone could hear it. Those that didn't attend were able to learn from that.
You're right. I was very thrilled that occurred because we did send it to the both large and small providers for no cost, just to hopefully spread that word much quicker than it would have been spread otherwise.
Very good. Yes, I remember receiving that. It was wonderful. So what have you been doing since you left as the president of CNNe? How has your career been advancing?
Well, I worked as a consultant. When I was president of CNNe, I retired from CMS, and I worked as a consultant, first with Sally Burroughs Hudson and then with Jennifer Vabrinchek. And we did a lot of good work for a lot of different things. Right now, I'm personally very excited about starting an accreditation organization and about the option of accreditation for dialysis facilities. I spent a lot of my career teaching state surveyors basic information about dialysis, and now CMS has moved their educational efforts to an online asynchronous program, which I fear will mean that we'll have less knowledgeable folks doing the surveys. There won't be anybody available to answer questions. There's no hands-on. And a lot of the people that come in as surveyors don't have any dialysis experience or knowledge. So the option of engaging an accreditation organization that uses experienced nephrology nurses as surveyors has great appeal for me. Another thing that's happening that I'm very excited about is the potential use of artificial intelligence to identify CKD patients most at risk for progression and thus be able to make interventions earlier to slow or halt that progression so that we could have fewer patients on dialysis. I think that's very exciting.
It is. Wow, I had not heard of that. That's wonderful.
Yeah, I was very fortunate to attend a conference at Rogerson Institute in December. Could have been January. I think it was January. And there was a great presentation on that, and so I'm very excited about it.
Wonderful. So before we end, is there anything else you'd like to share about your nephrology nursing experiences?
Well, I've made a great many friends through ANNA from, when I first started as a state surveyor participating in ANNA, learned so many things about nephrology nursing that I wouldn't have had an opportunity to learn otherwise. I've made friends all across the United States and even some international ones, and I very much appreciate those friendships and especially the occasions when we have opportunities to share knowledge and insights. It's really a gift that keeps on giving, and I appreciate it very much.
Well, Glenda, thank you so much for your service and leadership as president of ANNA and for allowing us to interview you today. So we appreciate the time that you took to talk with us. You have a great day, and thank you so much.
Thank you too, Norma.
The American Nephrology Nurses Association's 50th anniversary podcast series is brought to you by the Nephrology Nursing Journal, the official journal of the American Nephrology Nurses Association. This series is owned and produced by the American Nephrology Nurses Association. All rights reserved. No portion of this podcast may be used without written permission. For archived episodes of this podcast and to learn more about the American Nephrology Nurses Association, visit the association's website at annanurse.org. You can also subscribe to this podcast on iTunes, Google Play Music, Spotify, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, our hosting site Spreaker, and other various podcast delivery services.